All right, welcome back. Hopefully you guys had a chance to do B and C on your own. We already talked about C. The y-intercept was the origin. Our slope, when written in ratio form, is 2 over 1. So we start at 0, 0, up 2, right 1, up 2, right 1, and so on. So this pink line here should have been your y equals 2x. And then for B, I said it looked very similar to A, and the reason why is because we were missing a number for our slope, but that number was an invisible 1, so it was actually a negative 1. Writing it in ratio form gives me negative 1 over 1, because any whole number, I put it over 1 to make it a ratio or to make it a fraction. Our y-intercept here was 6, so I'm starting at 6, and I'm going down 1, right 1, down 1, right 1. Right? So down 1, right 1, down 1, right 1, down 1, right 1. I had to do some over to the left. So opposite that, up 1, left 1, up 1, left 1. Okay, got all my points, connected them, labeled it, and we're all good. All right, so hopefully you guys did okay with that. Let's look at exercise number 3. So given the lines below, answer the following question. So not only are we going to have to be able to graph a line given the equation, but we also have to be able to look at a line on a graph and determine what is this line's equation. All right, so first thing that you want to think about when you're looking at this is which line has a slope that is positive. So being able to indicate whether a line has a positive slope or a negative slope is going to help us make that equation. So let's look at B. The way that we can determine whether something has a positive or negative slope is to start at the y-intercept and then say, how do I get to the next point going from right to left or from left to right, okay, like we read. All right, so basically, how do I get from this point to the next point, which would be this one right here? How do I get there? Okay, well, first thing I'm noticing is I have to go down, right? If I'm here and here's my guideline, if I'm going up, I'm getting further away from my point. I got to get to this next point, which means I have to go down. Immediately, if I have to go down, I'm telling myself that this is a negative slope. I'm going down 3 to start this, okay? Then I'm going to the right. Okay, I'm going to the right. It looks like just 1. So this is a positive 1. So if I'm going to write the slope here of this line B, okay, B has a slope of negative 3 over 1, or just negative 3. Okay, so M equals negative 3 in this case. Okay, and that tells me that this one has a negative slope, B. So we can sort of assume that the next one's going to have a positive slope, but let's take a look. Again, I'm going to start at the y-intercept, and I'm going to look for the one that's to the right of it. Okay, the next point I see is right here. All right, so how do I get from this point to this point? Let's figure it out. Okay, so my guidelines, first of all, if I went down, I'm going further away from my point. I got to get closer to it. So I have to go up. And up tells me that this slope is going to be positive. I'm going up 3, so this is a positive 3 here. And then I'm going to the right. Going to the right, looks like 5. Okay, so this is a positive 5 here, which tells me that my slope in this case is 3 over 5. M equals 3 over 5. So which one has the positive slope? A. So we're going to say A has the positive slope. Now it says, how can you tell this without finding the slope? So we did find the slopes, but how could you tell without finding it? Well, you look at which one is pointing up to the right. Okay, A is pointing up to the right. That lets me know that it is positive. Okay, because we always read a graph from left to right, just like we read any form of text. So this line going from left to right is pointing up. That tells me that it's positive. What distance separates the two y-intercepts? Well, I've got down here at negative 3, and I've got up here at positive 5. So the distance here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Looks like an 8. Okay. Okay. All right. So let's move on to C. C is the real important part of this problem. It says determine the slope and the y-intercept for both lines then write the equation. So our ultimate goal is to find the equation of these lines. Okay, we've already found the slope. So the slope of A is 3 over 5. Okay, so 3 over 5, we're going to put here, that's our M. And then the y-intercept of A, let's just stick with A. Where does A cross the y-axis? Right here at -3. Okay, so -3 is our B. So putting it all together, remember we always start with y equals, then we put the M, so the M in this case is 3 over 5, just like we talked about. All right, and then we have an X, and then we put the y-intercept. Now, could I do this? Plus -3. Yes, but we don't like to have two operations next to each other. So either what you would do is put this in parentheses, which makes it look even more complicated, or just put -3. If it's negative, you put the minus there, that lets you know that it's negative, and you're good to go. Okay, so the equation of line A is y equals 3/5 x minus 3. We figured out the slope, we figured out the y-intercept, and we put it into that form of y equals mx plus b. We just substituted in the things that we know. The things we know is the m, right? The m, and we know the b. So we took those two pieces of information and we just replaced them in that equation, just like that. Okay, so we just substituted, just like a substitute teacher would be in place of the original teacher. These numbers are replacing those original letters. All right, let's try B. B, we found the slope to be -3. Okay, so this is -3. All right, over 1 you could say, but you don't need to put over 1. Remember we talked about that. If it's over 1, mathematicians are lazy, they're not going to put it. All right, the y-intercept is a +5, so this is a 5. Now again, putting it all together, remember our original form of an equation of a line is y equals mx plus b. So putting the m in where I see an m, and putting a b in where I see a b. I'm just substituting, just like a substitute teacher would go in for a regular teacher. I'm going to replace those numbers with those letters with my new numbers. Okay, so the equation of this line is -3x plus 5. Y equals -3x plus 5. So good thing to remember here. All right, this is going to be a common theme for us for the rest of the unit for sure, and going on further into math. The equation of a line is y equals mx plus b. You got to remember that. All right, guys, you will get a chance to try one of these on your own, and then you'll get started on the homework. So good luck, and I'll see you in the next lesson.